Jeff, I'm mindful this has been a mightily long first segment, so I think we have to find time just for a little tiny bit of...
Nerd Pledge. Nerd Pledge. It's the game that we play with the people on our Patreon page, the reverse quiz. Here's how it works. They help us make the show. They fund the show for us by sending us contributions a bit at a time, and that contribution will not be in the form of a round number. It will be in the form of a very specific number, something that relates to cricket, and we have to work out what the number means. For instance, Avinash Shenoy has sent through $5.09. That is 509, which could be interpreted as 50.9, 509, 0.509. Who knows? We've got to work it out. How does it relate to cricket? It's all you. Go, Adam.
As soon as I saw 509, I thought 5 for 9. I thought TBA May. He's one of his finest hours as an Australian bowler. And I thought to myself, well, this might give me a chance to tell the tale of the Adelaide 1993 Test. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, bloody hell, we know that one. The one where Australia lose by a run. But, we don't discuss the 3.5 days before that. It was a brilliant Test match. One of the greatest Test matches ever played. And May was influential throughout, having been recalled to the team. So let's go through it. West Indies bat first. They make 252. Lara Hire scored, Jeff, with 52. He was the only half century in the team. If Lara scored 3 fewer runs, if they were all out for 249 with Lara top scoring with 49, it might have ticked that Andrew Sampson box. You know, that highest innings tallies without a half century that he's quite hot on. I've just got a feeling that's about 240 something. So that might have got there, but not quite. Merv Hughes, 5 for 64 with the ball. Then Australia make 213. I think we've all probably seen the Justin Langer retelling of the tale when he gets smacked in the head and he's there on test debut. I looked at it. He faced 79 balls.
I was thinking of my family. I was thinking of my mum and dad. I had a tear in my eye. I was thinking of the kangaroo and the emu. Neither of them can walk backwards, Adam. Neither of them can walk backwards.
Can't take a backward step. So Langer made 20 off 79 balls, so he really did tough it out. But it's the lower order. So when Steve Waugh was joined by Merv Hughes, they were 112 for 6 and kind of stuffed. And then Merv top scores with 43, and Steve Waugh makes 42. So close to parity. Australia are 39 runs behind on the first innings. And then the West Indies start putting a foot down, and this is where Tim May gets involved. So they're 123 for 4 at one stage, and they've got their lead up to 161. They've got 6 wickets in hand. And then there's the Tim May intervention. First he gets Carl Hooper, then he goes on to get Junior Murray, Ian Bishop, who hit him earlier in the Test, Curtly Ambrose, Winston Benjamin. I was going to say Kenny Benjamin, but I'm pretty sure it was Winston. There's a collapse of 6 for 22 all up. West Indies go from 123 for 4, or might be 124 for 4, to all out 146, which leaves Australia just 186 to make in 2 full days after May takes 5 for 9 from 6.2 overs. That was his figures, his best in Test cricket to really drag Australia back into it.
186 in 2 days. Dom Sibley's batting for the draw.
Yeah, exactly. But, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a particularly tough task, but boy, it is. It really, really is. At one stage, they're absolutely stuffed at about 80 for 7 or something like that. I'm sure I wrote it down. I can't find it here. But Mark Waugh and Langer are batting for a while. Waugh makes 26 and Langer makes 54. And I think at one point they are about 100 for 8. And then Tim May puts on 44 with Justin Langer. Justin Langer gets out just when they're looking like they're going to steer the thing to victory. In comes Craig McDermott with 42 runs to get. And they get 40 of them, as I'm sure you know, Jeff. McDermott, 18 from 57, the last man out. As for Tim May, to complete an excellent Test match, 44 not out from 99 balls. And Australia lose by that solitary run, the only match ever decided by 1 run at Test level. So there's the Edgbaston 2 runs in 2005. There's the Manchester 3 runs back in 1902, and Melbourne, which Australia won by 3 runs to win the Ashes at Old Trafford. 1982, the great Melbourne Test match with Thompson and Border, where Australia lost by 3 runs. But yes, only one has gone down to the wire to that extent. Tim May finished up with 24 tests, taking 75 wickets at 35, including 21 at 28 in the 1993 Ashes. And really, he got on that trip because of what he did at Adelaide. He's back in the team for Adelaide, bowls well there, gets on the plane, and alongside Warne, they were an incredible force together in that Ashes winning campaign. He finished off, his last test was also an Ashes win in 94-95. When they won that series, and kind of that was that. He, of course, was a World Cup winner at the start of his career back in 1987. And perhaps as important to him as all of that was the fact that he played in South Australia's winning Sheffield Shield team in 94-95 when they held out for the draw. And he contributed to that. He made a duck on the final afternoon, but absorbed 52 balls to make his duck. He was the last man out before I think it was Shane George and Jason Gillespie got them to the finish line. And his career ended 1 year later. And ever since, he's been instrumental in leading the fight for players, be it through the Australian Cricketers Association or the Federal Association at an international level, where he's done a lot of good work. So Tim May, 5 for 9 at Adelaide in one of the great test matches at 1993.
Thank you, Adam. I like it, and I hope that Avinash Shenoy likes it as well. Avinash, if that number's not correct, drop us a message in the DMs on Patreon, and we'll come back to it in the revisit section on Storytime when we get to that point. And because you had the Nerd Pledge number on this show, Avinash, you get to give away a slab of Brick Lane beer. If you're in Australia, you could give it away to yourself. If you're not in Australia, you can give it away to someone who is in Australia. These are just the foibles of how this system works. And instead of telling you all about Brick Lane and how they're great Melbourne citizens and how they make delicious beer, I'm going to instead read this message that Patrick McKeon sent us on the DMs. He said, "Currently in lockdown in Canberra. My hotel room in Barton is overlooking Manuka Oval from one balcony and Parliament House from another, which is big final word areas. And I've just ordered a case of the Avalanche Blue Hazy IPA and a long-sleeved Brick Lane Brewing Community T-shirt. The consistent chat from you both, plus the mellifluous tones of Jay at the beginning of each pod, have really put me in the mood for a night on the tiles. But in lieu of that, I'm going to stay up late watching the test match and sampling some 6.8%ers from Dandenong." Thank you, Pat. And you too could be doing that. BrickLaneBrewing.com. Go and check out their wares.
I feel a bit sorry for Pat because presumably I think he sent that message before the Manchester Test match that wasn't. So
I think
instead
it was maybe before the Oval Test. I reckon he
right,
might have
all
got
the
his
better.
Test match in.
All the better. Imagine watching that phenomenal test match while enjoying a few Brick Lane brews. It's been great having them on board the last few months and looking forward to a long relationship with them into the future. All their information's in the show notes. Do as Pat's done. Buy some of their product and some of their products. That's a very modern thing to say, isn't it? Buy some of their beer and let us know. Add them to social media. All the handles are in the show notes there in the podcast feed or on YouTube. Add them. Tag them into your photo. And we'll let the good times roll with Brick Lane and Brewing. Good people, good things.
Let's have the mid-show break, and then we are going to chat with Nagraj Golapaludi about India, England, and all that business with the Manchester Test.